The cafe lights glowed softly that evening, casting a warm golden hue over the small tables. The aroma of coffee and freshly baked bread filled the air. In one corner, a young woman sat nervously, clutching her worn-out purse in her hands. Her name was Ayla. She was 23, simple, kind, and struggling. Life had never been fair to her. Her father had left years ago, her mother worked day and night as a seamstress, and Ayla herself juggled 2 part-time jobs just to keep food on the table. Tonight, though, she wasn't here for work. She was here for a blind date. But there was one problem. She only had $5 in her wallet. She had saved that money by skipping her lunch breaks the whole week. She thought maybe it would be enough for a cup of coffee and a slice of bread, just so she wouldn't look embarrassed. Her date, a man she had never met before but who had texted her saying he was well off, hadn't arrived yet. Ayla sat there, anxiously glancing toward the door every few seconds. At the next table, a man sat with his little daughter. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in an elegant suit. His watch glimmered, his shoes shone, he had the aura of wealth and authority. But the warmth in his eyes as he helped his daughter stir sugar into her milk revealed a softer side. His name was Adrian, a CEO of a large company. But more importantly, he was a single father. His wife had left him 3 years ago, unable to handle the pressure of his demanding job and the responsibility of raising a child. Since then, Adrian had been both father and mother to his daughter, Leah, a sweet 6-year-old with curious eyes. Adrian noticed Ayla. Her dress was clean but faded, her shoes slightly worn. There was dignity in the way she sat, but also nervousness in her trembling hands. He watched as she checked her phone again and again. Minutes turned into half an hour. Finally, her blind date arrived. A man in flashy clothes swaggered into the cafe, sunglasses still on though it was evening. He sat down with Ayla without even greeting her properly. Adrian, from his table, could hear fragments of their conversation. "So, what can you order with $5? A glass of water." The man chuckled, loud enough for others to hear. Ayla's face turned red, her hands clutching her purse tighter. Adrian's jaw tightened. He hated men who disrespected women. Leah tugged at his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, that girl looks sad." Ayla forced a smile, trying to keep her dignity intact. She quietly ordered the cheapest drink on the menu, praying her $5 would cover it. Her blind date, however, ordered a full meal and then leaned back arrogantly. "So, you'll pay for me too, right? That's what decent girls do." Ayla's heart sank. She didn't have enough money even for herself. She excused herself to the restroom, her eyes brimming with tears she didn't want anyone to see. Adrian's heart ached. He remembered his own struggles as a young man, the way people used to judge without knowing the truth. He stood up, walked to the counter, and quietly spoke to the waiter. "Whatever that girl orders, put it on my bill. Don't let her know." When Ayla returned, she found her drink already served. She took a sip, trying to compose herself. Her date kept mocking her, scrolling on his phone, barely paying attention. Finally, after eating his fill, he smirked and said, "You're too boring for me. I thought you'd at least dress better for me. I'm leaving." Without even thanking her, he walked away. Ayla sat frozen. She had spent all her courage, all her hope, just to show up, and now she felt humiliated. She reached for her wallet, intending to pay for her drink, but the waiter stopped her gently. "It's already paid for, miss." Confused, Ayla looked around. Her eyes met Adrian's. He gave a small, polite nod before turning back to his daughter. Her heart skipped. That was the first moment their worlds quietly touched. The next day, Ayla thought she would never see that man again. But fate had other plans. She worked part-time at a small bookstore near downtown. That morning, as she was arranging shelves, she heard a little girl's voice. "Daddy, look, a book about princesses." She turned, and there was Leah, holding her father's hand. Adrian. Their eyes met again. For a brief second, Ayla froze. She quickly looked down, embarrassed. She didn't want him to think she was weak. Adrian, however, smiled warmly. "Good morning. We didn't expect to meet again so soon." Leah grinned. "Daddy says we should read more. Can you help me find a storybook?" Ayla's heart melted. She knelt beside the little girl, showing her a book with colorful illustrations. Leah's joy was contagious. Adrian watched silently, noticing how Ayla spoke with such kindness, her eyes shining not with pity but genuine warmth. He thought of his daughter's loneliness, how she missed a mother's love. Somehow, this young woman's presence felt healing. They chatted briefly. Adrian didn't mention the cafe incident, respecting her pride. But in his heart, he admired her strength. Over the next few weeks, they kept crossing paths. At the bookstore, at the cafe, at the park where Leah played. It almost felt as if destiny kept weaving their lives together. But Ayla carried her struggles silently. She often skipped meals to save money. She walked long distances instead of taking buses. She wore the same shoes until they nearly tore apart. One evening, Adrian found her sitting alone outside the bookstore, tears in her eyes. He couldn't walk past. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. Ayla quickly wiped her tears. "I'm fine. Just tired." But her trembling voice betrayed her. Adrian sat beside her. "You don't always have to be fine. Sometimes, it's okay to let someone in." Those words broke something inside her. For the first time in years, Ayla confessed her fears. How she felt like a burden to her mother. How she hated being judged for being poor. How she wished, just once, to be loved without conditions. Adrian listened. No judgment, no pity, only quiet understanding. When she finished, he said, "Ayla, you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. Your value isn't in money, or clothes, or what others say. It's in your heart. And I see it." Her eyes widened, tears spilling silently. And that night, under the streetlights, a bond was born, fragile, tender, but real. Life didn't magically change overnight. But something inside Ayla had shifted. She started to believe she was worthy of love. She began to smile more, not just for others, but for herself. Adrian, too, found himself drawn to her in ways he never expected. He had guarded his heart after his wife left, fearing love would only bring pain again. But with Ayla, it felt different. She wasn't after his money. In fact, she didn't even know how wealthy he really was. She cared only about kindness, loyalty, and the simple joys of life. One rainy evening, Ayla rushed into the bookstore, soaked from the downpour. Adrian and Leah were there, waiting for her with an umbrella. Why are you here?" she stammered. Adrian smiled. "Because some people are worth waiting for." Her heart skipped. That night, over hot cocoa, Leah curled up beside Ayla and whispered, "Can you be my mommy one day?" Ayla froze, tears filling her eyes. She looked at Adrian, who simply nodded, his gaze steady and full of meaning. It wasn't about wealth. It wasn't about pity. It was about love, loyal, selfless, unconditional. Months later, as the sun set over a small park, Adrian held Ayla's hands and said, "The first time I saw you, you had only $5 in your purse. But today, I know you're the richest person I've ever met, because of your heart. Will you share your life with me, and with us?" Her tears fell freely. Yes. 1,000 times yes. And there, with Leah hugging them both, a new family was born. From $5 to a priceless forever.